welcome to the Campfire Podcast. It's just me, but usually there's so it's four of us. My three friends can't make it today, but I wanted to get this
I
done.
won't take it personally.
Well, I hope I don't. Yeah, I think they're hoping you don't take it personally, but they weren't able to make it, so it's just me. We'll get this done. I hopefully as I will edit it, it's out by Saturday, and then we'll see what happens. But yeah, so I heard a little bit of your story from the night you shared at church. And I was like, well, that sounds like an amazing story, but you didn't really go into details. So I was just like, we could just have our own podcast. So I think we talked about it. We haven't really been like podcasting much in the past few months. So it's been months since you shared your story. So we're just like, maybe we'll do it. Now we're doing it. So welcome to the Campfire Podcast. I'll just let you share a little bit about yourself, like where you grew up, what was life like, and then we'll go from there.
Sure. Okay. Thank you
Yeah.
for having me. So I'm originally from Boston, Massachusetts.
Okay.
The daughter of a Kurdish immigrant and a born and raised Irish Catholic South Boston woman.
All right.
So two very distinct
Yeah.
parental line. But yeah, I'm one of six kids. I come from a blended family. So I was born and partly raised in Boston. Then my family migrated to New Hampshire, which is a little bit of a slower life than the city.
I have no idea.
Yeah, most people don't know much about New Hampshire, but
Yeah.
it's a beautiful state, tiny little state. You've got the ocean, you've got the woods. So
Yeah.
that was a big part of my upbringing. I think just being able to be out in nature was really nice. Spend time with my siblings, kind of that, I don't know, the nice old school upbringing that we remember, which is
Yeah.
crazy to say at 36 years old. But yeah, when, you'd stay out all summer long and not come in till the street lights came on and all of that.
Yeah.
So my dad, he was brought up Muslim because of where he was born and
Yeah,
raised. That's just what, that's really what you did over there. So the Kurds by nature aren't, they don't practice Islam, but they, like many peoples over the world, right, are forced to assimilate to certain religions. Yeah. So my grandmother is actually Yazidi, and my father's mother, and due to genocide and things happening, they had to migrate at a time where came out of the mountain regions, the Yazidis, and more into the city area.
Yeah.
And so they grew up just kind of masking to the world that was around them. So my dad told me, he grew up with hearing all of the old Yazidi folklore and stories, because that's not a written
history. Yeah.
It's oral.
Yeah.
And then, learning everything else, learning Islam and of these nature. But he tells me even to this day, he's like, we don't identify with the Muslim religion. It's not like part of our identity.
Part of our identity,
right?
Yeah.
But we would practice the major holidays. That was really the gist of it. My mom grew up as a Catholic, so they were sort of like, oh, we'll let our kids have
Dabble
both holidays.
Yeah.
Because honestly, they weren't going to mosque every week. They weren't going to church every week. So dabble, and then they can decide. So, that's sort of the influence that I came up with. And, I went back to the city at 17, and I stayed there until I came out to Maui in 2019.
So you came to Maui in 2019. I came to Maui in 2018, but it's already 2019 because it was December. So
okay.
So you get to Maui. What are you doing before like 2020 and then everything happens?
Yeah, so I got here in June of 2019, and it was just supposed to be for 3 months for a little nanny position that I took. And I'd always kind of wanted to come to Hawaii.
Okay.
Was going to send my sister, and then I was like, oh, I should go do it. So I took the opportunity and came, and actually the week prior to coming, the job fell through, and everything fell through, but I had already taken
planned
the
it.
steps.
Yeah.
So I said, I'll just go anyhow. And I came, and I got a bartending job at the brewing company down the street.
Okay.
And met some people, and was lucky enough to meet some people that were born and raised here. I think that really helped because I had spent the holidays with them.
Oh, yeah.
Well, come to the end of the summer, I was like, oh, I'm not ready to leave and go back to Boston.
Yeah.
And so then, yes, I stayed and I got to spend the holidays with some of these friends' families, and it was awesome. And
Yeah.
there's just, for me, it was really exciting to come here too because of the history
Yeah.
and the Hawaiian culture. It's like new things to learn, right?
Yeah.
I didn't know much about that. I'd never met so many Filipinos. There was a whole other culture to learn about. It was
Yeah.
just really exciting. I was like, love it here. And I decided to stay. And then, of course, all of the
COVID happened.
and the world shifted drastically.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was very grateful to not be in Boston in the middle of the city in the winter during all of that.
Yeah.
But at this time, I didn't know Jesus.
Okay.
You know, like I'd said, I'd been privy to maybe the Catholic Church. So I'd gone on weddings, funerals, cousins' baptism, but no one was practicing. And never in my life had I kind of been introduced to a sort of a relationship, a personal relationship.
Kind of like religion.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this kind of grace that comes with it. I always, I guess, sort of, and I still have to remind myself of this constantly throughout the day, but that it's like, you're not going to ever be good enough.
Yeah, you're never going to be good enough, and you can't save yourself no matter what you do.
Yeah, and I can say that, and of course I know that, but then somehow
you have to,
forget
because you grew up in different ways, so you constantly have to remind yourself. As
a knee-jerk reaction, I guess, as I've learned over the last couple of years, it's just like the second maybe you make a mistake or fall off, the shame creeps in. And
the shame creeps in. You
want to hide.
You want to isolate, yes.
Opposite of what you should be doing.
Yeah.
So, I didn't know Jesus in that way at all. And so now I'm in a new place. I kind of don't have any cares in the world. I don't have many responsibilities. I'm just responsible for myself.
Yeah.
So now the government's writing free checks to people and encouraging you to stay home and, keep the liquor stores open and all that stuff. So, I leaned into that. And I'll be honest with you, at that point in my life, like I thought I was a great person.
Oh yeah. You're living great.
I looked around too, and I was like, I'm
better than this person.
These high horses, and I thought I was so humble, right? That's insane. It's the opposite of humility. But I just didn't think. I looked around and I saw other people doing worse things and things with their life, and I really thought I was in some sort of like good place. And then my world got rocked in September of 2020. My auntie passed away suddenly as my mom's sister, and she was my mother figure.
Okay.
And she was sort of like, as I went through maybe struggles with my parents individually over the years or things like that, my aunt was sort of this just like
the constant rock.
Yeah, she was a true north for me and somebody I could always go to. And she didn't judge me, even though I was making countless of foolish mistakes, And so that I had basically no tools to deal with that. I hadn't been hit with loss like that personally, which I also recognized was like a blessing to go that many years in my life and not have that happen. But also now here I am.
You don't know how to deal with it.
I was so confused by where she was. Like, where's her soul? How can she just be gone in an instant and I can't access her or reach her ever again? I just really was having trouble understanding those things. And she was also like the matriarch of my mother's side of the family. We didn't have anybody else kind of stepping in. So it was like me and her daughters that sort of, we're like, oh my gosh, we're so out of our element. We had a service in the Catholic Church back home in Boston. And I don't know, I just remember feeling irked by this service, and I didn't like what the priest was saying, and it was all my own uncomfortabilities just like being stirred. And it was just like, it was bringing out more anger in me. And I came back to Maui and I was like, severely depressed. Just having trouble getting out of bed, having the will to kind of do anything.
Like no morale, no motivation to get anything done.
No point. I didn't see the point. I'm like, this woman, she did it all right. And look, she's finally ready to retire. And this happens, the classic woes.
The classic, why do bad things happen to good people?
God, why? So when I finally was starting to like get on my groove a little bit again, like I could wake up in the morning and maybe go brush my teeth before just like wanting to be, and then I lost another person so close to me. And he lived on the same street as my auntie. So it was just sort of like, because it was a little close-knit community
like
in
family,
Boston.
yes.
Yeah, some of the last like locals left there because local mentality is everywhere, people, believe it or not.
Yeah.
But in between that 6-month period, I didn't know it at the time, but like something was starting to shift in me because I was acknowledging the fact that I had nothing and I was at the end of my rope.
Yeah.
So then I just started kind of thinking about God more. And there was this was kind of going around. The churches, and they did it here in Hawaii, they sang the Lord's Prayer.
Yeah.
And it was like different churches recorded it and then they strung it together. And I think New Zealand did one, so it came out. And then the state of Hawaii. And somehow, I don't know, I stumbled across it and I listened to it and it just like broke me. I like was crying, all this stuff. And so I like listened to it again. I listened to it again. I just kept listening to it it was like kind of weird. A friend would come over. I'd be like, have you seen this? It's really neat. Look what they made. And now knowing too that it's actually like the lyrics and a lot of songs too that kind of move something in you are actual verses from the Bible.
Like, things like scripture.
That's what's, doing it. And I, went to that second funeral with a little bit of a softer heart. Not as hard as another Catholic funeral. I was wasn't offended by what the priest was saying this time.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. I played that song over and over and over again my drive out. He was a veteran, so my drive all the way out to the Veterans Cemetery, which was like way out in Cape Cod, and they closed the whole road because he was also an armed service member, all these things.
Yeah.
Fireman, so it was just it was a big ordeal. Definitely invoking lots of feelings, and I went and did that on my own. So I just really felt like I was alone,
isolated,
with the Lord.
going through all these
going
things.
through all of that, and he was. I just actually felt another kind of presence with me this time. Like I was helping be guided, and I didn't realize any of this at the time. This is like now I'm able to kind of reflect
now in retro perspective, like you look back at it and you're like, oh, this is what was happening, and this is what I was going through. And then this is like, it's beautiful to look back, but in the moment you're just like, I don't know what's going on. I have no idea how to deal with it.
Am I crazy? I listened to the song 9,000 times.
Yeah. It's beautiful to look back at, but in the moment you're just like, I don't know what's going on. All I know is that I'm going through all these things. I don't know how to deal with them. So you go through this whole deal at the funeral. You come back to Maui straight away? Mm-hmm. And then
it's coming back to Maui in between. And that's when I started sort of like searching a little bit. I started asking a couple friends who grew up here, do you have a church? Or does your mom or dad go to a church? I don't know. I kind of think I like maybe need to talk to someone. I kind of even was like, there's many paths to go down, right? There's like a place on the island that's kind of like a doorway to death type of like people who offer this kind. I was because I'm just like
you're just searching,
and I was kind of, and I think this is a normal thing that happens when you're not privy to it. When you experience death or loss like that, you kind of become a little hyper focused on it. So that was, again, I noticed that after I was like talking about death constantly. It's like kind of a buzzkill, dude. Like no one wants to be around someone constantly talking about dying.
Yeah.
So I just. And the COVID stuff started happening. So I was starting to get some life back a little bit. But I was also recognizing what was happening in the world was kind of messed up. So like where there are other people that are sort of recognizing this too. And I looked for those people in the community. And I started to see a little bit of a pattern of people that had that sort of discernment with when it came to maybe the government or these bigger things. And I was seeing a pattern of people who then said they were believers of God, of Christ. And for me, I'm like, okay, that's interesting. And then there was also like a big sort of like new age community that was also very much so because they're naturally,
We talked to Mark. He's exactly.
So I'm in there with both of all that crew, and it's
Okay.
a hodgepodge of people. And in one sense, I'm like, this is kind of beautiful. 'Cause
This
look,
is
you
good,
got
yeah.
all kinds of people, and they're coming
Mixing,
together,
yeah.
and this is great. But then once you're in it, I started to feel like, okay, well, this feels right, this doesn't. Being around this person feels really good. Being around this family feels really nice, and I just started to recognize. And so at one thing for COVID, a random pastor got up and spoke, and he was just talking about Jesus, and I really liked it, and I'd never heard that, so I was like, oh, maybe I'll go check out that guy's church.
Yeah.
And I did. I went, and I'm like kind of skin crawling even a little bit when I'm going in, because I'm just so I'm like,
You're just uncomfortable.
trying to learn. Like, okay, what
Do you
we
engage
don't
with
have to get up and
people?
stand up all the time. This is new.
Yeah.
And so I loved the worship part, was really beautiful. But I just felt like the message maybe wasn't really speaking to me.
Okay.
But I was still curious. So I had heard about Pastor Kirk. I think that's what happened. That there was a pastor who was also a doctor.
A doctor, yeah.
And he was treating people.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, that's kind of amazing.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll go check out that church.
Yeah.
Okay. So I went. I came to Calvary, and I lived down the street. So sat in the back of the church. Came a couple times. I was like, okay. I basically was like convincing myself it was okay to go into the church. I was like, okay, well, like, you think about it. Like, you don't idolize men on earth. Like, a lot of the stuff, I was like, I'm down with that too.
Yeah.
I just like, that's why I was lost, because I didn't have the gospel.
Like the foundation.
Exactly. So I was like, all right, but like, if you're going to have a role model in this life, like Jesus is the one. So let me just go in, and I'm not saying I believe everything, but like, I'm
willing to give it a shot.
I'm willing to hear more about Jesus. Okay. And then I went, and I really loved the way that Pastor Kirk delivers the word in such an eloquent way, but also like
challenging.
And how he ties in the history and everything. For me, that was like, I really felt like this like student that's really, I still do, hungry to learn from him. So, and it started with Pastor Kirk for me. Okay. But now, because the way God works through him, I was able to hear the message through him very well. Yeah. It's now allowed me to be able to hear it from
other
others.
people.
Yeah, because I had and I hear that from other people now too. Sometimes they have a mindset that like, if it's somebody else speaking, and all over, not just here in our church, they don't want to do it, or that. And even when that was happening to me, I knew that's not God's intention, right? Because it's not about a person.
It's not about the person delivering the message. Right. It's the message that's important. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And if you're not able to receive something every time, then like we need to probably
examine our heart.
Yeah. So I liked it. I didn't really understand much. The songs were beautiful. I was looking around at the people a lot. I definitely was like more people watching in the beginning.
It's what happens when you go to a new church.
Yeah.
Like you're looking for someone to connect with. Like, are these my people?
And meanwhile, then going back and like living my same life though. So that also was like, of course, you're not going to have some massive shift if you're still like living your life and then just like
stepping in a little bit, just sticking your toe in. Yeah.
So I was doing that. Maybe I had come 3 times when I was on Facebook, this is the original question I think you asked me. So an hour later, I was on Facebook, and it was a Maui bulletin page, and I saw this tiny little profile picture that was and then it was a tiny little Kurdish flag. And
is that Colleen's picture?
It was Colleen, yeah. So I'm like, Kurdish flag, what is this? Because there's no Kurds on Maui.
Yeah.
I already know that because I checked when I got here. That's what you do. You look for the other Kurds.
You look for your people.
Yeah, where's the Urfa pepper? Like, where, come on. So, no Kurds. But then I see this immediately DM, like, I don't even know if it was a male or a female. I was just like, hello, are you a Kurd? Are you on Maui? And Colleen is like, I'm not a Kurd, but I love the Kurds. We just got back from Kurdistan. I was like, what are you talking about? She's like, my pastor does all this work with the Kurds. And I said, wow, I'm Kurdish. Who is your pastor?
Yeah.
Dr. Kirk Milhone.
And then the dots start connecting.
I was like, Colleen, all right. lady, random person on the other end of the screen. I
Yeah.
said, what? I have started going to that church. My problem.
Yeah. That. Let me just lower it down. That's fine.
Okay. What do you mean?
Yeah.
And she said, you need to come meet him. Actually, tomorrow we are presenting our Kurdistan trip.
Yeah.
You should come to church in the evening and see. And I said, okay. And when my sister got home from work that night, I was like, Hannah, you're never going to believe this. We are going to church tomorrow night.
Wow.
And which the crazy thing is tomorrow night was March 21st, which is Nowruz, which is Kurdish New Year.
Oh.
So typically there's a huge celebration. Like back home in Kurdistan, it's days long and there's just dancing and eating. And it's just like, it's
Beautiful.
beautiful.
Yeah.
And we do a big party back home in New England. My dad's been president of the New England Kurdish Association since I was a kid. So
okay.
Nowruz is like something you look forward to
Yeah,
all
yeah.
year. Kurds from all
All
up and
over,
down the eastern
yeah.
seaboard come. So it's
wow.
beautiful. And I was like, kind of missing my family. And then, I get invited to a little Kurdish church party.
Yeah.
And so when we walk in, I was just jaw on the ground because I looked up on the stage. Up there was Dr. Kim and Dr. Kirk, and they were both in
the Kurdish.
full Kurdish outfits.
yeah.
Holly was up there.
Yeah.
And I had actually met Holly maybe a month or so prior to that, randomly having to do with something with COVID.
Yeah, yeah.
Zero relation, not knowing she had any relation to the church, absolutely not knowing she had a relation to the Kurdish people.
Yeah.
And her and I exchanged numbers with hesitancy because we were both like, who are you? Who are you? She told me that years later. She's like, I didn't know if I wanted to give you my number.
Shame, Holly, shame.
And then she was up there and she's like, you. And I was like, you, what is actually happening?
Yeah, what's going on?
And, I mean, I know that it doesn't need to happen in that insane way, but I'm very grateful for God doing that for me because I was so stubborn. I am so bullheaded, all of these things that I needed to kind of succumb to that it's like, I don't know if I would have been open to even hearing from someone in a different capacity. I almost needed these
needed the
draws in
the big things to be happening.
This is kind of a safe space. These are good people, to even trust. I just feel like maybe I don't know, we're lied to so much throughout our life, and it's just like, I guess it's like you don't want to be let down one more time, lied to one more time.
Like your guard is always up. Like, well, what if you let me down again? And then what if you let me down again? And then you're also just looking for that like perfect opening to be like, well, you let me down, so I'm getting out of here. So yeah, I know. So you come to church, you hear the update. Was it an update? It was an update. I'm gonna say, it was an update. You hear the update, you're like, wow, this is amazing. What happens when you go home?
I think I just cried a lot. I cry a lot, by the way.
I don't know what to do when people are crying, so please don't cry yet.
It's like my brother.
I don't know what to do. You're crying.
Lady's crying. Awkward.
Yeah, it's like, oh.
But I think I was just in awe. But I definitely felt like these were signs because I had been wondering,
you've been looking,
and so I don't know of something more clear to kind of like make you feel a little bit at ease and like this tiny little church in the island in the middle of the ocean,
upstairs of a commercial building
that know about your heritage. Not just that, they go over there.
They go over there regularly.
They do these things and they
for
don't
free.
even have a connection there, and it's free, and it actually costs them money. And they don't boast about it. And I mean, that's just like, that doesn't exist. But it does, but it
does exist, but it's just like a minority. Like the majority of people are like, oh, I went here, did this, all these things. Look at me. And you come here like, it's good people just like, oh, I'm just doing what God's telling me to do.
Yeah, it's so rare.
It
so
is rare.
Nonchalant.
Yeah, it's like those like TikTok videos or like Instagram videos like, oh, I'm giving this person this much money, this homeless person. Look at me, I'm so good. Like, wow. Okay.
Yeah, no, that's always so strange to me, 'cause it's like you're looking for accolades.
You're looking for our permission. You're just like, I'm gonna give out this money so people think I'm this
Uh-huh.
good person. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So to see that being done in the quiet, no one's looking for any. So I mean, just regular. And then you find out what they. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
everyone in this church is so awesome. Has a great story.
Yeah.
Just lives their life
The
day to
way,
day in
yeah,
that
like
way.
seeking God and wanting to be in in a close relationship with Him. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's very encouraging to like be around those kind of people.
It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been big for me.
So, and then you cry, you like all these big signs you're looking for are now like right in front of your face. Now you can't say, "Oh, I didn't see anything." You can't just deny the things you're seeing. Then what's the journey starting to look like now that all these signs have been given to you? You're looking
Mhm.
for them, you're searching. Now they're in front of your face. But you also like coming to church like a few times, but you're also living this life. So there's
Mhm.
that conflict of your flesh wanting something else, and your spirit is like, I'm taking you on a journey here, but your flesh is like, but I want to enjoy all these things, and then your spirit's like, no, you don't get to do all those things now because you're on this path now. What's going on?
Mhm. Yeah, I think it was a lot of struggling with that for a while until the Lord made it clear that you're going to have to make a choice. I'm
Okay.
going to keep putting you, or you're going to keep putting yourself in bad predicaments, basically,
Yeah.
until you get serious about it. Because my heart was serious, and I was like, when I would come to church, I would just feel all these things, and I would feel really close to Him, and I would get in my car right after, and I'd feel really close to Him.
Me and Riley talk about this, like the high points, like all things are going great. You're reading your Bible, you're praying a lot. You feel like God is meeting you where you are,
Mhm.
and then like hours later, you're like, I don't feel it anymore.
Yeah, even minutes later
Yeah.
sometimes,
Yeah.
even just like looking at my phone once, or by the time I get past the gas station,
Yeah,
and
it's
then
gone.
it's gone, and
And
then
then you're
I'm
like,
like,
where did it go?
oh yeah.
Yeah.
So realize like that, and just playing that game. I played that
Yeah,
game
like
for a
being on both
while.
sides. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, when you're in it and it's happening, you don't see it like that, right?
No,
It's like
it's
you're trying to
justified.
make the work and you're justifying it. But yeah, with that time and to be able to look back. So I think I struggled with that, and letting go of my complete lifestyle that I used to have. Is
Yeah.
just the habits and the tendencies, the friendships that I had.
Yeah.
Great people, but just
Not
conducive to the
to the
lifestyle that
you're
I'm now
about. Yeah.
trying to live. And
Yeah.
then how do I configure that? And then also so much internal battle, because I'm going against kind of this notion that I've had set in my mind
Yeah,
for
like
some
all these
time.
like things that you're used to doing, and now your flesh is like, your body's like, your spirit is like, we're not gonna do those things. Your body's like, this is what I'm used to.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that constant part of like, it's what you're used to, but this is what gonna happen. This is how we're gonna move, and then you struggle between that. And then you said like, God just like told you like you're gonna have to make a choice, or you're gonna end up in like, what did that look like? Because me and Riley talk a lot, and when we talk about sometimes like, is it like his question is always like, is it a sign? Like, is it a big thing? Or is it like in your mind? Is it in your heart? Or is it like right in front of your face?
For me, it was a big thing.
Okay.
I think I would guess it's probably an individualized thing.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. It's very individualized.
Some
Yes.
people are able to hear him.
Yeah, some
clearer.
people, yeah, clear and loud and clear
Mhm.
once, and they do it, and then some people's like
Some people
constantly.
know, and they'll keep hearing it.
Yeah.
Little one, push it back. Oh, maybe that's just a thought. For me, it was like every time kind of Pastor Kirk was talking about straddling two worlds, I felt that a lot. But I also would be like, okay, but you're making progress.
Yeah,
you can't do it all overnight. But there were things that like I could be doing, because it was already clear to me those weren't, but I was just still like, oh, you're making progress.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Like there's progress, so you deserve a reward. You can
right.
do a little bit of bad because you've been doing all these good things. Yeah.
And I'm simultaneously just like trying to also understand the Bible, the history of the Bible, and the gospel in itself.
And like all these other teachers out there, because
like, there's a lot of noise.
There's a lot of noise. You go out there looking, and you find these guys like, the message sounds good to your soul. It's like it's like good for your flesh, but you're like, it's not biblical, but it's very good for you. Like, well, this is affirming everything I want to hear. And then you find someone else like, okay, this person just like challenging me after message after message, like which way do I go? Because this guy is pleasing my flesh, but this guy is challenging that same flesh.
Yeah.
So how do you cut through all that noise to be like, this is my journey now. God has made it clear for me, and now I'm gonna follow God and go into this direction.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely still a struggle for me, something that I'm learning because it keeps changing. As it's so new for
Yeah.
me still, and I just with each big trial, it's kind of like it is really refining me. So
Yeah, like you're going through the fire.
yeah, so in the summer of 2023, I had something happen that was like very clear. That was just like, you need to
Give up
full
this life.
stop, give up. Because right
Yeah.
now you're like, you want these things and they're right here about to be
Yeah.
given to you, but you're messing around. Like you're not taking it
Yeah,
seriously.
so it's this free gift. You don't want it, but you want it. But it's
and
right
how
here.
dare I? So that
Yeah.
was clear and that was easy for me. But and that, I mean, came 6 months after I got to travel back home to Kurdistan with the mission
crew.
team.
Okay.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I think I talked briefly about that and just the comparison from one trip to the next, the couple of years,
Yeah.
what the difference that made inside me of how much fear I was operating in the first time. I didn't have that. Skill. I don't know if I'm using the right language, but to be able to go straight to God. I was relying on myself so that I would find myself constantly confused and stressed out when I was there. But then trying to play it cool, so like push it down until something happens like at the border and then I snap.
Yeah.
So that was like, and I remember when we got to the village and it was all collapsed and I just was like, what am I even doing here? Like seriously, what am I doing here?
What skill do I have?
Yeah, like I'm
I feel
just
out of
coming to
place.
say what's up and take a picture. This is insane. Like, what am I? I went inside the tent and I kind of just like collapsed on the ground and I was like, God help me. Why am I even here? Like, I don't know. And I know that I don't know. And I know, and I had been asking, before that to him to just like,
help.
Use me though. Like I want to work for you. I know that. And please help me do what I need to do so that I can be a good servant to you. Because right now I'm all a mess, like I could recognize that.
Yeah.
And you can't just jump in and think you can be some warrior for the Lord if you're all messed up.
You haven't been
yourself.
trained up.
Yeah.
You have no equipment, but just like, I'm going to do it.
So I just, again, now being able to look, I just feel like obviously God's putting me there and he doesn't make any mistakes.
Yeah.
So that I know, but I recognize that I'm a student and even amidst these wonderful people that we have in our church who have been doing this for a long time longer, it's like you can't compare yourself to anybody else or be looking around. And I just definitely recognized that I, over these last few years by committing more to the Bible and taking that time on my own, because it's a choice, right? And
it is a choice.
No one can see. It's just him.
Yeah.
We can pretend all we want. We can look like the best Christian to everybody
on the outside
here, but it's like, and that's the real, I feel like that's the real struggle in relationship, at least, so I want to make the time, but how do I actually go from just wanting to do it to actually
taking action?
Yeah.
I think that's a struggle for a lot of people. It's like, oh, I want to read my Bible every day. And then you have the time in the day. It's like, oh, I'll do it later. And then I'll do it later. And then you're in bed. And like, oh, I'll do it tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning comes, it's like, oh, I'll do it after work. Oh, I'll do it this. And then it's like, oh, 3 days is gone. And then like after that, like it's just easier to just be like, I'll do it later. 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 And then it's just gone. And then now, but your heart is like, I want to read my Bible. But you don't have the will to just go and do it. So
and you're hurting your heart the whole time.
The whole time you're missing out on something and you're not equipping yourself for every day. So you have no protection for whatever the devil might throw at you as you go through the day. So you're just defeated at the end of the day because now you're feeling guilt or shame of like not reading your Bible. And then the cycle just keeps going. And then when you realize like, oh, it's been a month since I read my Bible, and I don't know where my heart is. So
Mhm.
you have to go back to God, and then there's all that shame, like, oh, I didn't talk to God this whole month. What does he think of me now? Does he
Mhm.
like, is he still just gonna forgive me? It's all these things, all these doubts that come into play when you're like going through all these things, like the struggle to read your Bible, the struggle to be committed to prayer, the struggle to be in fellowship. Like it's just easy. The flesh is just like, just stay home.
Yeah.
Don't go to church. The flesh is just like, you can pray like
Mhm.
after lunch, or you can
Mhm.
pray like, and then it's just like your flesh just takes over, and then your spirit's just like, you need to help me here. You need to actually take action and go through with all these things you say you're gonna do.
Mhm.
Yeah. So so you've gone to Curtis Nut 2 times at this point.
2 times with the church.
So you've gone 2 times, and you said the first time you just like trying to do it on your own,
Mhm.
and second time it's like, I don't want to do it on my own anymore. I want your help because you've brought me here. So help me go through these things. So what happens?
It was beautiful. I felt like I was able to be more of like a fly on the wall
Mm.
instead of like amidst the chaos and
Yeah.
probably creating some of the chaos now when I look back on it.
Yeah.
And it felt so peaceful, and I felt
Mm.
really close to him while I was overseas. And I think that that's easy when you like leave your world behind.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
didn't even need to look at my
Mm-hmm.
phone. I had no care. It was just focused on what I was there for. And I had just so much peace of mind because I really think I just wasn't trying to even think at all because I'd recognized and I was out of my element. My mind wasn't going to do me any good over there.
Yeah.
Honestly, I was on a medical mission. I was so
Yeah.
far out of my league. So, knowing that and knowing just the humility I had from the first time, because like that's basically my thing. I find it hard to even talk about God because I don't have words
You don't
good
have the
enough.
right
I
words.
don't
Yeah.
have the right words. There aren't words that would
You
do it
think, yeah,
justice.
like you think when you said it's not gonna hit the same way you're hoping it's gonna hit the
Yeah.
people. Yeah, I struggle with that too. Like even telling my own stories, like just like I don't know how to say this. Like I want to tell you, but just don't know how to tell you. Like
Mm-hmm.
with good words, with how to make the story sound amazing, and for you to like, oh, God did this, not like, oh, Feston did this. It's like it's that part of like I want to tell you the story, but I can't. I don't have the right words to share the story with you, so I just won't share the story. So it's just limiting factor of like I just won't because I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So now you've like prayed to God, you've asked for His help. Like, just I'm giving full control of my life to you. So you've given up that full control.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, there's struggles of you like wanting to take that control back from God, like give it back to me. I'm giving it to you, but I also want to be in charge of what things going on around me. What's going on?
Yeah, I don't want to be in charge at all.
Yeah.
Um, I it feels like I've passed a phase. Like I
Mm.
feel new. I feel my mind feels like new. I
Mm.
feel different than I did before. And that's the thing because I think when I said I accept Jesus, even to
Mm-hmm.
now, there's such a growth that's happened.
Mm.
And I just like, I know what it has to be
Mm.
and I recognize it. And I know that everything is better when he's
When He's
leading.
in control,
And
yes, so much
I
better.
tried for so
Yeah.
many years,
Yeah.
so many different ways, and it's the retraining of my mind
Mm.
and asking him to help me
Every
give me
day.
peace every day, every second of
Yeah.
every day.
Yeah.
Like I think that's another reason it was just so good being over there because he was able to be my thought
Your
all
first thought on
constantly.
everything.
Yeah.
Now we come back here like I gotta do this. I gotta get this
Mm-hmm.
done. I gotta get this done. But you're like you said, when you're in that element, you're just like I don't know what to do. So
Yeah.
this is easy for
Yeah.
me. It's just a
I'm
walk in the
yours.
park. It's just I'm just yours. And you come back and you're like, but I gotta get this done, God. I gotta get this done. Like
Mm-hmm.
your life is back to normal now, and all the chaos that goes on in your life is like wanna like I'm giving you control, but like there's things in my life that I need to do,
Mm-hmm.
and and then suddenly it just doesn't become like the first thought in your head when something goes wrong.
Right.
You're like, I want to fix this.
Yeah.
But then they're like, oh, something goes wrong. I want to pray about this. Here, if something goes wrong, you're like, who can I call? What can I do to fix this situation before you go to God? So, yeah, we all struggle with that, I think, most of the time. Like, is God the first thought that comes to your mind when everything is going right and when everything is going wrong? So, now you're talking about the growth that you've like the transformation that you're going through, and like obviously you had questions when you began, and God has been answering those questions throughout your journey to where you are now. Like, what was your biggest questions in the beginning, and now like God's like answered all those questions to you, like, hey, you're asking about this, here's the answer, I'm giving it to you.
That's a good question. I think a lot of my, like, for me, it was sort of hard to wrap my head around the only way to the Lord is through
Through
Jesus,
Jesus.
right? Because I understand that, but then my mind, because I grew up in this mixed
Catholic.
household
Yeah.
too, and
Yeah.
my family's from the other part of the world, and you know, not everyone has access. That's just like where my mind goes. Not everybody has access to learn Jesus in the same way. And so
Yeah.
a lot of those questions, putting things into my own mind and trying to make them make sense that way, which a lot of things will never make sense
Of course,
through
yeah.
our mind, right?
Yeah.
So that's like a verse I fall back on a lot, is that lean not on your own
On understanding,
understandings,
yeah.
right? And I have that actually in my closet hung. Just a funny little side story.
Okay.
But I had gone to a funeral, went back when I lived in Boston, of a American man who went over and fought with the Kurds against ISIS. And he passed in the line of duty doing that. And, you know, for his family, that was like super confusing thing, because he had no connection to the Kurds. He just told them one day that he felt called by God to go, and he packed up his stuff and went. And so his parents, you know, in one sense could have like had a huge chip on their shoulder towards these people, because this is what happened to their son, right? When he
Yeah.
they were huge followers of Christ. And so the opposite happened. They embraced the Kurdish community locally. They didn't know anything about the Kurdish culture. Instead, they dove in. So we had a huge presence at this boy's funeral, and all the parents wore a little Kurdish flag pin. I mean, I was just like, wow. So handed out at that funeral was a photo of this man, and then underneath was a snapshot from his own Bible that had that verse underlined in it, and it was what they gave out as a memento, basically. So I really looked up to this man, because I thought that it was so honorable to go and fight for our people. You didn't even have
any connection with, yeah.
And I had his photo on my fridge back in Boston, but the Bible verse made me uncomfortable. So I had folded the photo and I just had his picture on it.
Wow. Okay.
So, and I moved to Maui. All my stuff's in storage. I don't get it till a year and a half later, maybe 2 years later. I'm in my closet here, and I'm pulling out all my stuff. And that photo falls out, and I unbend it, and I read that verse, and I just am completely undone, because I've been going to church. And I'm just like, because my whole head, and then I'm just like, whoa. Like, you are so like, wow, you have been rejecting him. He's been there. You've just been rejecting so hard that you wouldn't even look at a Bible verse. It made you so uncomfortable. Like, Lord forbid it stirred something in your heart. You know what I mean?
Lord forbid it tell you to trust in the Lord.
Oh my goodness. So it just meant so much to me, more than that. And it's hanging in my closet, and that crease is so thick, but it's like the crease that kind of reminds me of my story.
Yeah, like there's like it's like two sides of you. Like,
yeah.
this is just like the top picture, just like
I
your
wouldn't
past
even
life.
hear it
Now
before.
like you're trusting in God. With, not
Before it
letting
was
on
just
your
like,
own.
la, 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 you
Yeah.
know? So
Yeah.
that's been really nice. And not this past, maybe last year, the year before, I get it confused now with going home, but I went home, and it happened to be on an anniversary of this man's death. So they were doing a memorial at the grave site. And, you know, if you want to see my dad, you got to go visit him wherever he's doing Kurdish stuff. So I went to this guy's memorial.
Yeah.
And then his mom and dad were there. But I was like, oh my gosh, I get to now share this story with them. And I shared it with them, and they were so moved, you know, and they were crying. I was like, your son, it was just so cool because I was like, you know, your son has been like a little small, you know, hero of mine, someone I looked up to, but now it has so much more meaning to me because now I look at him as like the brother in Christ that he was, and that it was the Lord that led him over there to do that. And also the beauty of their family by not kind of scorning and pushing away these outside and these that doesn't, you know. And I'll tell you another thing, at his gravesite, his mom and dad were more put together talking about their own son than a couple of the Kurdish people who were like wallowing and weeping in despair. And I understand that's like part of our culture.
Yeah.
But it was very evident to me also at that moment. I'm like, okay, it's not even your son and you're wallowing. Yet these people are like standing in honor, doing justice in a different way. It just showed me to maybe like, having Christ in your life, how you can tackle different challenges and big, all like that's the most awful thing one could imagine, right? You have to bury your own child. And just the grace that they had and the class and the faith, they just kept praising God. They gave it all to him. And so it's just stuff like that that those kinds of things used to like rub me the wrong way, which is insane. But it just shows me how cold my heart was. And now I see the different flip side of the meaning. So I understand too people that might be in the world and don't get it. It's like we're speaking two different languages. We're really living on two different planets.
Parallels,
like, parallel universes.
Parallel universes,
So sorry, I just thought.
No, that was good. That was good. So what's like a habit or practice that helps you like stay grounded in your faith now that you're like you've given your life to Christ, you've given full control to him? What's the habit or what's the practice that you're like, this is what brings me back to Christ? If something is going wrong in my life, or if I don't feel close to God, this is what I do to get my heart prepared to come back to Christ.
I just pray. Now I've been trying to, the second like a thought or it comes into my mind, I just try to get on my knees right in that moment, like I'm at my house. But not wait, not put it off. Church has been really helpful for me. Like I think it's all of it. It's the act of coming, being around the people, holding myself accountable, showing up. And then also you feel good, the message that you're maybe going to receive, like all of it.
Keep learning.
Keep learning and putting myself. And I think too, I live in a house with roommates and we're not all of faith, and I don't have a family that I go home to that's kind of centered in that. So it's like, that's too, sometimes I leave and by the time I'm to the end of the street, I feel like so far away. So I really enjoy just being
at
around,
church.
being at church. And I miss it when I'm not here. And I've made it a point now, even when I'm in Boston, I'll go to church. I'll be able to find a church when I'm home. So it's not the same, but it's something. And also coming here and learning the Bible, reading the Bible more, because that's the biggest thing, is actually opening the Bible at home. Because in the beginning I would come and it's great, but then that week is really long and not getting anything in between. And, you know, how do you just start reading the Bible? All of that stuff was kind of foreign, but honestly, coming to church is like school for me, and all these great examples. And I look at the young men and I look at the young women and I look at the teens, and it's really inspiring. I know I was talking with Ramona earlier about being careful about looking to man, of course. But in the sense that it's definitely helped give me some hope.
It's encouraging to see other people walking the same journey you're walking. And like you said, like older people, young people, it's just like this is like, you see like, oh, this could be me. But then you're like, this is younger, like this could have been a younger me, but now I'm here and I'm striving towards being like like Pete and Sasha that were preaching about, like Greg, it's like being perfected, striving for that to obtain that salvation, and that's so like you. I think what I'm trying to get to is like you look at all these people and you encourage to say, if this person is doing it, what's stopping me from doing it? If this person trusts in God, like, and they've lived your life longer than I have, and they've seen more stuff than I have, and they still trust in God, then what am I? And then you look at a younger self, like, if this kid understands that this is the God to follow, and they have struggles, the older people have struggles, but they're like striving in the same way like you're striving. Like, I want to go to church, I want to be part of the group, I want to fellowship, I want to do all these things, I want to read my Bible, I want to pray more, I want to be around people that encourage me and challenge me to grow closer to God. So like, it's very encouraging, and it's like eye-opening sometimes. You look at someone and you're like, wow, I didn't know I struggled with that. But look at that person, like the way they talk about this kind of like struggle, how this challenged them to be a better person in this instance. Like, so I was talking to Riley, it's like, you challenged me to be more forgiving and to be not able to just hold grudges, to actually forget and forgive and be able to move on from the situation. So it's like, it's very challenging, but it's also very encouraging because it challenges you and then it also encourages you. And then just like, because I think we're almost hitting an hour here, so time is moving very quickly because the stories are good. But like, now you're talking about proclaiming Jesus Christ to the people around you, the people that knew your past life, and it's like, wow, Sarah now she's so transformed. Now it's just like all she wants to talk about is Jesus. She doesn't want to talk about anything else. What's been like the reception of your transformation to God when you share stories to, like, you talk to Jesus, talk about Jesus to your dad who grew up Kurdish, like it's been all these things, like you shared a little bit of that, so can you just like share, like we'll get into more detail about.
Yeah. I've, as I said, I had so many guards up myself. And I think that people see me as someone that's sort of been like, in the past, I've always been outspoken, very opinionated. So to do like a 180 sort of on a lot of my staunch opinions.
Yeah, your beliefs and stuff.
It's funny at first, right? To
Yeah.
people, maybe, my cousins and stuff. But it's been really great because I'm not someone that's going to just be so forward about what I'm doing. It's just not, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's not my personality. I would rather, also because I feel like, I don't know. It's just not my style.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it can be showboaty. I don't know. It's just like not of God. I think God's very like humble and conservative and like kind of just, like, whatever. So, and I don't know. Something's happening to me and I'm not even sure of what's happening. So I'm just trying to learn. But with friends, I don't think that I really just preach it or bring it up so much as more like I'm waiting for a window of an opportunity if it feels right. And then with my family, like most families, we've had so many just different little struggles that you deal with. And a lot of families battle the same struggle for the entirety.
Yeah.
So I've just been trying to work on me because that's going to be the biggest evidence of any sort of change. And I'm really not in a place to be speaking from some sort of pedestal. Or I often think about, why speak of the speck, right, in your brother's eye when you have a plank in your own. So for me, because that's also how I always felt about people, I think speaking about religion, that's kind of what I go into it about. I'm like, I'm not going to be me. I don't see myself as somebody that's shouting it from the rooftops, whether that's good or bad. I feel like I'm someone that it's evident by the way I'm living. And hopefully with more time and studying, maybe God will put the right words in my mouth. But it's hard for me to just kind of talk about it, but so I can talk about like what he's done in my life. And I think I've been given that advice, you don't have to say what, you can just tell your story. That tells it. And it's like, okay, then it makes it so much about me. Right. And it's not really about me, but my family, I will say it's been working. Like, Um, and that's probably like the biggest testament of all of it for me, because for so long I've tried in my own mind and wanting to make things right with members of my family, or wishing this didn't happen, or wishing it would go different in this way, and always with my own mind and my own control, and how come I can't make them do this or make them do
How come
that?
yeah.
And since I've been able to let go of all of that and just be focusing on my walk with the Lord, my strengthening, my relationships have gotten better with everybody in my family pretty much. And I was kind of estranged from my biological mom for many years, and I've been able to mend that relationship and go and see her. And she started watching church
Wow.
online here from in New Hampshire. And that's really big too, because then, like, the Lord even giving me the strength to enter into that pathway of forgiveness with my mom, and then like what it's able to give her, like that's what I saw, like,
Yeah.
wow, I gave her a gift by like
Being able to forgive.
able to forgive her. And she was able to then maybe forgive herself for a lot of things. And I think too, a lot of that Catholic guilt, right? It's still like embedded in my mother, even as an adult. I see from her, from being a child, and it makes me sad. And I'm just like, this is why the love of Jesus is so important, because like people are struggling in these battles that they don't even need
They don't
to
even,
be.
yeah, they don't even know they're, they don't need to be in them. Yeah.
And so that's been really beautiful, just like watching that take place in my mom. And I'm not doing anything. I'm just letting the Lord work in me, and then he's doing everything. And so it's just, I mean, you know these things, you can be told these things a million times, but until you see them like coming to fruition in your own life, I'm just like, God, you are so
amazing.
good, and you're so funny, and I am like so dumb. You know what I mean? Like how all this time me thinking I
can
could
do all
like think
these
my
things.
way out of it all. Yeah, I can do all these things, and it's like, no, you really just need to let go.
Yeah, I just
and
need,
surrender. Yeah. My father has started going to church with my Ane.
Wow.
And you know, it's not so much about going to church, but for someone that's not a believer to start to go to church, it can start to stir
It
things, right?
starts to, starts to stir there's something up. It starts to challenge them. They start questioning. They start being more open to like, well, I believe this, but why is this pastor saying that's not the right belief to have? So it's like you're planting the seeds, and it's just like God will do things in his own time. Doesn't mean that doesn't matter how many times they go to church. It's God's just gonna do it at his own time. Even if they don't go to church, God's just gonna do it at his own time. So that's another encouragement. It's like I think most of the time, in a mindset of like we need to like share, or like we need to like make something happen for God to feel good about ourselves, and then you guys just like, in my time, I'll make things happen. Like you could share your whole life story 200 times to one person, and that person never come to Christ. By listening to your story, they'll come to Christ maybe just by like, looking at a fly. Just like I spent like 200 times telling you this story, and you just looked at a fly and you came to Christ. So like God does things like mysteriously and like in his own timing with his own wisdom, and we just like you mentioned, like you give up control so you can just be the fly on the wall, like part of God's mission. You're just like, I'm just here to be on this journey with you. I have no ability to do anything, but if you say, Sarah, do this first and do this, then I want to do that when you tell me to do it. When you say it, not when like, oh, I feel good. And God's like telling me to do this, but let me just give it 2 more years and I'll do it. It's like you want to be able to come to a place where you're like, if God says do this, I'm able to do it right there and then. So so just to close out the episode, for someone who, like you said, you just like to live your life and try to grow in your relationship with God, and hopefully that people look at your life and say, this person knows Christ, this person's life is different, what are they doing? And then they ask you, or it comes up. So what's the encouragement that you want, like when you tell your story, even with family, what's the takeaway you want people to take from your story? It's just like, oh, that was serious, cool story, with like no lesson. I was just like, wow, that was cool. Okay, let's move on. Like, what's the takeaways? What's something that God has put on your mind or in your heart with your own story? Say, this is God's mission through my story. What's that thing?
Yeah. I don't know. I think I would just want to say that, God is for everyone.
Hmm.
Um everyone who seeks him. But
Mm-hmm.
he's there.
Always
And
present.
he's always present, and that's for every corner of the world. And
Mm-hmm.
even when that makes absolutely no sense in your mind, he has a way to reach every person in the
Yeah.
most miraculous
Yeah.
way. And no heart is too hardened,
Mm-hmm.
because there's so many things, right? It's like we can look one way on the exterior, but the interior is a whole nother ball game. And that's me. I mean, I was so good at putting on a front,
Mm-hmm.
but the inside was so just jagged and broken and filled with thorns and hard as stone, my heart, because I had just been hurt and just suppressed it, and did things that were awful, and then that adds up, and he can take it all away.
He can take it all away and make it
Take
new
all
again.
away, and he did it for me.
Mm.
And I was like, I'm ashamed to say how skeptical I was, and things that I might have said in the past, and he takes all that away too, where you're able to own up to it, but
Yeah.
no longer feel that shame.
Mm.
And I guess I would just say to like anybody that feels like they don't have an avenue or a pathway, just by making that effort, that's part of the process,
Yeah.
right? And God sees
Taking
you, and
action.
he's going to meet you because he knows each person's individual needs and story. And I'm so grateful to him to how he's worked in my life, protected me my whole life, my family. I see that now. It's so evident. And that he's been gracious enough to use these big things for me that I cannot
You
try to
have
get
no
around
idea
or make
to,
excuse.
you can't comprehend. Yeah.
But he doesn't have to do that either. He could have left me, but he doesn't, because he
Yeah.
wants each and every one
One
of
of
us
us.
with him
Yeah.
for eternity,
Yeah.
heaven. And I think that that's the beautiful part about God, that it's love. And don't listen to anything of the world, because I had a lot of preconceived notions myself, that until you yourself are opening the Bible and reading it, you don't say anything, because that will change everything for you. You'll have new perception. He'll give you wisdom that you just didn't have.
We'll give you words,
prior.
what to say. Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't understand a lot of it now. And now I can hear the same verses 4 in here, but totally different. And, people tell me that that'll continue to happen to you throughout your life with Christ. So that's such a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
How he's how he's here, right? And living and alive and
Yeah.
just moving with us and knows it all. And I just think it's so beautiful. And again, I don't have the words to put that miraculousness into
Words.
perspective.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right. Praise God for your story. Praise God because He does miraculous things. He does things. He knows He's on time because, like you said, you try to do it in your time with your own strength, and God is just watching you, probably just laughing, like, "Hey, when time comes, you're gonna realize you didn't need to do all these things." So praise God for your life. Thank you for coming on our show.